So this lens is the Tokina 11-16mm f2.8 ultra wide lens. Now this is the newest lens in my collection, so I haven't gotten, a large amount of photos and videos with it. I haven't gotten a huge amount of use with it at all, but I'm already loving this lens. I just already know that it's gonna be one of my least used lenses because personally, I'm into wide angle, but really not super wide angle unless I really need it for certain situations. So like I said, if you're looking for an ultra wide angle lens, this right here is definitely the way to go. I'd recommend checking this out. So at this wide of a focal range, f2.8 is amazing. I mean, it's gonna be really good in low light. I can't say it's gonna provide shallow depth of field because at this wide of an angle, it just doesn't really happen. I mean, I'll kind of show you what it can do. Right now it's actually at 16mm, the most zoomed in it'll go. And I mean, you can already see how wide it is. So, if I get this close, I'm like about a foot away right now from the lens. And the background is getting a little blurry. Not like super creamy backgrounds like the 50mm lens that I had on here a little bit ago. So I really wouldn't buy this for anything like that, for like interviews, or definitely not portraits of people, because you can probably already see how distorted I am. My arm looks like it's 30 feet long right now. This isn't good for taking pictures of humans because it makes people look really weird and long and distorted. Long story short, don't use this for portraits. f2.8 aperture, super good flow light, super wide, and it's actually a little surprising. So I want to make sure you understand right off the bat, this lens is not a full frame lens. I basically talked about how I use the Viltrox speed booster with all these lenses. This lens right here is not meant to use a speed booster with because it's meant for an APS-C camera, which is what the M50 is. However, I am using this with the Viltrox speed booster right now. So hypothetically, you're gonna get a lot of vignetting on an APS-C lens with a full frame camera. And so I'm gonna go ahead and zoom out all the way to 11mm to show you what happens. So right now there's no vignetting. The corners look perfect. It looks great right here. So I'm gonna slowly zoom out, make sure you watch the corners. So there we go. I'm at 11mm right now. This is 11mm. This is ridiculous wide. Like, this is like unbelievably wide. But I'm sure you can see the corners here. They have quite a bit of vignetting. It's really deep and it's nothing that you can even correct at 11mm. But it's actually crazy to me that you can get this wide with this amount of vignetting. I think usually on an APS-C lens, it would be like all the way like right here. Like it'd be like a circle, this big in the center of the camera. But this, it's pretty much just the corners that are getting a lot of vignetting. And even if you zoom in to, let's see, I think right there, 13, this is at 13mm. There's barely any vignetting. I see a little bit, but that's something that you could probably correct in post. So this is 13mm full frame equivalent lens right here. This is stupid wide. And the best part is this lens costs used around $300 or a little bit less. And I think new it's like just over $300. So this is a super cheap lens. And just as a comparison, there's a Canon brand 11 to 24mm, I believe, lens. I'll kind of put it up on the screen right now. I don't know the exact price off my head, but obviously you just saw it. That thing is like the price of a car. So for $300 or less, getting 13mm full frame equivalent with a Viltrox speed booster, it's unheard of. I mean, this is just an awesome lens for special case scenarios when you're gonna need something this ridiculously wide. So either way, there is a couple downsides I'm gonna quick bring up, and that'll actually wrap it up for this video. This might be kind of a long video, so I apologize. And I really hope you found a good lens out of these 5 lenses that I used. Definitely leave in the comments if you ended up purchasing one of these lenses. I'd really love to know which one you guys went with. The first thing is, which you probably saw when I was zoomed all the way out, it's not super sharp, and there's a decent amount of chromatic aberration and just stuff like that, and it's just not super sharp of a lens, which is understandable with this ultra wide of a lens at that low of a price. It's an aftermarket lens, it's not a Canon genuine lens. You can really expect it to not be perfect. And so the other downside to this lens is the autofocus. So the autofocus itself is pretty loud. I don't know if you're gonna be able to pick it up. I'll actually try to bring this mic close just so you can hear it. It's definitely the loudest autofocus out of all these lenses that I talked about today. I don't know how much that you picked up, but the autofocus is pretty loud in this, and it's not super fast. So it's understandable because this isn't a genuine Canon lens, it's, you know, an aftermarket lens with an adapter, so it's understandable that autofocus isn't amazing. But also at this ultra wide of an angle, you pretty much can use manual focus most of the time because a lot of the frame is going to be in focus at once. So it isn't something huge that you need to worry about, and once the autofocus locks on, it stays pretty locked on. But I just want to bring that out there, that the autofocus is pretty loud and it's not super amazingly fast or perfect or anything like that. Besides those downsides, this lens is super awesome. It's super fun to mess around with. I mean, look at that. It's ridiculous how wide this lens is. So either way, that wraps up this video. I really hope you enjoyed it and I hope this helped you out. If it did, go down and drop a like and feel free to subscribe to my channel. And I hope you have a good morning or afternoon or night, whenever you're watching this, and I'll catch you in the next video.